chair for Lubbock Compact. And what Lubbock Compact is an advocacy group that is formed around the issues that were brought to light by the initial edition of the Lubbock Disparity Report. And we just really try to address some of those issues through political action or citizen education and things of that nature. So that's who we are. You can check us out at lubbockcompact.com. That's our official website. It has everything kind of about us, what we've done, what we are doing, things like that. So that's just a really quick rundown of who we are. And so why we are here today is we actually are releasing the second edition of the Lubbock Disparity Report, which was who Mr. Caleb Randall, who's on the call, was the architect of. Basically, he worked with a lot of different teams to get this done. A lot of work went into this, and so that's why what we're here today. The first initial disparity report was more around some infrastructure issues and things of that nature that Lubbock is dealing with. There were some other issues brought to light as well, but it's the majority was that. And so I'll hand it over to Caleb now to kind of talk about what some of the differences are between the first edition and this edition and kind of what went into it and how we got here today. So Caleb, I'll let you take over.
Thanks, Adam. So I'm Caleb Randall. I have a Bachelor of Science in Architecture from Texas Tech, which I graduated August from. So I've been in Lubbock. I was in Lubbock for 3-4 years, and got familiarized with the city from an architectural standpoint. I had the pleasure of meeting Nicholas Bergfeld during one of my classes, and about early June, July, he reached out to me to kind of spruce up the original Disparity Report. He wrote that report with an anonymous contributor in about 72 hours. As you know, it's kind of somewhat fragmented, but definitely addresses some of the larger issues that we're facing as a city. His original goal was just kind of make it a little meatier, kind of go and get some citations, spruce up the drawings. But as I was looking through it, I realized that there's so many disparities in Lubbock that have still not been addressed. And so what we've done is gather about 15, 20 writers, each with a different expertise in specific areas of Lubbock society, and we've had them work with us to write some new sections about kind of more specific and in-depth things that are happening. And we've been working on this for the past 3 months or so. So it's been a journey. Some of the new sections that we've added include homelessness, which was written by Chad Wheeler, the religion section, which was written by Tracy Benefield, and the substance abuse section, which was written by Joshua Wilms. And in each of these new sections, we attempt to go a little deeper into the issues that Lubbock is facing. I mean, it's a little too broad for me to kind of give out today, but as you read through the report, you can see the kind of inequities that are occurring, particularly the disinvestment that's happening in East and North Lubbock, and the inaccessibility of Southwest Lubbock for people of color. And we went through and we redid all of the graphics, so it's a little more easy to understand. We use kind of simple colors, red and blue, kind of showing, as you scroll through it, you can see how East and North Lubbock and Old Lubbock inside the loop are generally in red, which is kind of an indicator of each individual map shows disinvestment or things that are occurring in Old Lubbock that are anti-growth. So as you scroll through it, you can see that. Our process was very difficult. We have about 330 citations throughout our 130-page document. The original document was 47 pages with no citations beyond a few links. So hopefully those extra resources that we kind of pulled together can be another medium for citizens to go grab information. One of the largest issues that we faced the past 3 months is just finding information. The lack of information in Lubbock is astounding to me. The city of Lubbock and organizations in Lubbock don't necessarily report on a lot of things that they should be reporting on. One of those sections is sexuality, so LGBTQIA plus communities in Lubbock. They're generally forgotten about. There's not really any statistics out there. There's no information. And so you can see in some of the sections that we started to include some narratives in there. We did our best to find people that have been affected by these issues directly, and talk to them and see how they've been persecuted in Lubbock. And so hopefully you can see that there. The lack of information is one thing, and the other thing is the inaccessibility of information. It took us a very long time just to find the information that we have in this Disparity Report version 2. Some extensive research, including archival research, which is not generally available to the common citizen in Lubbock, which is unfortunate that it's not easily accessible. And the city is not necessarily putting out these reports from 10, 20 years ago about even the voting records for how certain council members have voted for example, for the school closures in LISD. It's extremely difficult to get to that information. And if it's difficult for us as researchers and writers, I can only imagine how difficult it is for the common citizen in Lubbock. And that's a real issue, that these things should be easily accessible, understandable, and digestible by anyone. And hopefully that's what we've done here. Speaking on that, there's a few things that we're working on still. One of those is a Spanish translation to this report, and we're hoping that can come out in December, January. A full translation with the local dialect. So we have a few people working on that. And then in addition to V2, we're working on version 3 already. And that's going to be more of a book type document that'll be published. We're still working on the publication date, but some of these issues cannot be researched in 3 months. And I mean, that's the unfortunate truth of it, is the disparity in Lubbock has gone back since its conception. And to really get into the issues there, it takes quite a bit of time, quite a bit of research, quite a bit of writing to do. We're planning on introducing some new sections such as climate, environmental justice. We touched on that in the initial report and in the second version with the industrial land use along Avenue Q especially, that is disproportionately affecting communities of Black and Latinx populations. We have accessibility, which we were not able to get to in this version, again, because of the lack of information. So that will hopefully tackle some disability services issues in Lubbock, as well as some infrastructural accessibility. We touched on that with the fact that Southwest Lubbock is inaccessible by bike and by public transit. Obviously the LGBTQIA plus section, which I mentioned earlier, and then a few other, gender as well, which is a large topic that needs some experts in the fields, which we are working with. So yeah, it's been a tumultuous process the past 3 months. But I'd just like to say thank you to all of the team members that I've worked with, both the writers, researchers, the editors, and the graphic designers that we've worked with. We couldn't have done it without our team here. And also thank you to the Lubbock Compact board for supporting us, and all the Lubbock Compact members who've responded to our surveys and kind of messaged us about things they're concerned about. That's really how we are able to research. As we hear, we listen. We listen as best as we can. I know that there are things that people want to be addressed soon. And we're doing our best to address them, but they're just such large issues that we really need to spend our time to go into the complicated nature of them. We're really the first organization in Lubbock that's gone through this process. So it's new to all of us, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the future. We're definitely going to come out with some more content for you guys to look through, and make it a little more digestible for everyone in Lubbock to view. So.
Okay, great. Thanks, Caleb. So we have a few questions already. I just want to remind everybody, if you do have questions, you can drop them in the Q&A section there down at the bottom. And we have some already, so I'll go ahead and start going through those. So as someone who worked intently on this report, what is your ultimate hope and goal for its impact?
That's a big one. I hope that people can just be aware of these issues. That's the bottom line, is people aren't aware of the things that are happening right under their noses. And so the ultimate goal is to kind of wake the Lubbock population so that they kind of understand what's happening in their city. And hopefully they can be a little more educated to how to change that. This is not something that we can change as even an organization. I can't change it as my individual. We can't change it as an organization. So it's going to have to be a community effort, and that's going to stem hopefully from the dispersal of this information.
Great. And so we got another question here. What findings were most surprising to you while compiling the information for the report?
Let's see. There's a lot. There's a lot of things that I just was completely oblivious to. And all of our writers can, I'm sure, attest to that as well. Even just going through the maps and redoing the maps, which I had a hand in, it was just crazy to me how stark the difference was between East and North Lubbock and Southwest Lubbock. Even without any writing, if we just send out these graphics, I think that would make a clear enough argument to the disinvestment that's happening in East and North Lubbock. And just scrolling through those maps is insane to me, how different there is, how much difference there is.
Yeah, for sure. I said the same thing about the first report.
Right.
They're pretty straightforward, and so when you look at it, it's kind of hard to deny. So we got another question here. What are your plans to overcome the lack of information for the next version of the report?
Yeah, so we have a few different avenues that we can go about. We have a archival newspaper from, I mean, since Lubbock has existed, or Lubbock publishing has existed. And so we can go through that. It just takes quite a bit of time to go through archival newspapers. The other way that we can attack this is through open records requests, which take quite a bit of time. But if we can kind of force the city to uncover these really clear issues, even if it's a lot of information that we have to, or data that we have to go through, having the data from the city of Lubbock is going to be very helpful. Having the voting records is going to be very helpful. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. And all of those were anonymous, by the way. We have another anonymous question. It's what made you want to get involved with the Lubbock Compact and this process as an architecture major?
Well, my architecture career or academic career has been focused on social change. And I know I'm a white man, so I have to recognize the privilege that I have. But I read the initial report, and I was just shocked at the infrastructural disparities that are happening. And that's directly tied to the architecture. Urban planning is a part of architecture. And urban planning for almost more than 100 years has been used as a controlling mechanism by governments and people to segregate, to control populations. And so I've always been interested in how we kind of break that down, how we redefine our urban planning so that it's not segregating people. And it's unfortunate to me that this still exists today. It's not surprising, but it's unfortunate. And I hope in my architectural career that I can combat some of those things and listen to people that are affected by these things.
Awesome. So we have a question from Fox 34 News. They say, please give us one example of disparity from each news section of the report, i.e. homelessness disparity, LGBTQIA+. What are like one example from each of the news sections?
Sure. Yeah, just a quick mention, the LGBTQIA section is not yet developed in this section. It's for the next version. But yeah, homelessness, which was written by Chad Wheeler. He, when I was editing that section, I mean, there's such a lack of beds in Lubbock for homeless people. And there's such a high population of homelessness in Lubbock compared to the population of the city. And it's crazy to me how there's not enough beds. The other issue there is the lack of direct, you'll have to forgive me, I forget the correct terminology for it. But a lot of the beds are transitional, I believe that's the term. And so the recent developments in homelessness research has kind of debunked the transitional beds, and we don't have enough direct homelessness to having a home in Lubbock. There's not enough direct connection there. So people are just constantly thrown back in the cycle of things. And I think that was one of the issues that I read about. The substance abuse section, one of the things that Joshua Williams worked on there was outlining the treatment centers in Lubbock. And I believe there's a map of the treatment centers. And one of the things that stood out to me is he talked about the substance abuse treatment centers for minors, and the closest one specifically for women in Texas is actually in Tyler, which is about 8-10 hours away. The closest one for young men is, I believe, in Plainview or Amarillo, so it's a little closer. But Lubbock still is not able to support minors who have substance abuse disorders. Let's see, what are the other sections? The religion section, it was, Lubbock has a decent Christian population. And I think what was hard to hear is that some of the school system is still implementing prayers in classes, and still implementing or supporting the religious beliefs of the teachers. And the teachers are really important, you know, if they reflect on the kids. And so if the teachers are kind of imposing their religious beliefs on children who don't want to have that religious belief imposed upon them, then that's a real issue. And that's something that Tracy talked about in that section. I think that's about it. Those are the three kind of major new sections. Obviously, we had additions in some of the other sections, but the rest of it is existing in the original report.
Great. And this next question was for me from Fox 34 News. How will this report affect the Compact's mission? As far as the work we've been doing, as far as like the infrastructure things is concerning impact fees and all these different things we'll have going on, that's more of what we're dealing with right now. As far as some of the substance abuse areas, for instance, or homelessness and things like that, we do actually work with a number of other organizations that do work in those areas. And so as for me personally, it would be an issue of us connecting with those people, or at least just making them aware of the report, you know, making sure they have the information. And I think that a lot of those organizations, there's a lot of great people out here doing a lot of great work. And while the Compact's mission is mostly focused on those infrastructure issues that we're dealing with, I think that we'll definitely be able to get that information in the right capable hands, and we probably won't have to do much. I mean, of course, we will assist those people if we have to, but I'm pretty sure that they'll you know, take it upon themselves to do the things that need to be done.
I also wanted to quickly mention something I forgot about the substance use section. Is we had some expert opinions that were written in that section, kind of narratives from and interviews from those people. And one of those interviews was from Assistant Chief of Police John Caswell, and he, with his interview with Joshua, he recommended the creation of a no wrong door facility that will accept anyone regardless of income, mental status, age, healthcare coverage, homelessness status, or any other category, because that's, I mean, people are being turned away at homeless shelters, at treatment centers, and we don't want to turn people away. That just continues the cycle.
Yeah. So we have a question from the chat, and this is from Nicole Pennington. She said, you said this would be a community effort making changes, referring to me. She says, does the Lubbock Compact, through the new Disparity Report, suggest changes and make recommendations that are actionable? So I know that, real quick, Caleb, before you say something, I know that in the initial Disparity Report, yes, there are things that are actionable that we are taking action on now. I think that as far as those sections, the infrastructure situations, we're really just kind of adding more data, if I'm understanding correctly. So those issues kind of our work there won't really change much, but I'll let Caleb answer. Are there some of those recommendations that may be actionable once people read the report, maybe on substance abuse or homelessness?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few actionable things, but I'm not sure if they can be executed by the community. We can kind of lobby for those things to be implemented in Lubbock by either the city or certain organizations. But one of the things that we brought up in the early discussions for this version 2 of the Disparity Report was, well, what if we have a kind of revitalization section or redevelopment section, or how do we move forward? You know, beyond just the smart growth that Nicholas talks about at the end of the paper. How do we actually move forward? How do we actually change the infrastructure? And we went into that a little bit. I think we hit a brick wall there. You know, it's not something that you can kind of make up. You know, you can't think of it in even a few months, and that's something that really needs community involvement for us to develop those plans. And hopefully in the version 3 of the report, we can have some people that are have a vested interest in this to work with us on creating those actionable changes. But I'm very hesitant to create specific actionable changes from my position and from our writers' positions. We do have people on the writing, writers that were from, or consultants that were from East and North Lubbock, but we need more input to do that. And I don't think it would do it justice if we did it now. Okay.
So it's mostly just so that they can have that information, everybody knows what's going on.
Exactly.
Then it's just going to be an ongoing kind of work, and that's what I've seen being in this. So we're going to wrap it up pretty quick. I'll just let everybody know that the new report is on the homepage of the website. That's LubbockCompact.com. The website's, they did a really great job on that, so it's not too hard to navigate. Everything is there. And then also just please follow our Facebook page if you'd like to stay up on what we're doing. We do regularly post actionable items if there's things that citizens can get involved in, or that we would need more citizens to get involved in. So follow the Facebook page, and it's just Lubbock Compact on Facebook. And then if you do want to be involved, like actually be on the team of Lubbock Compact, which we are very open to, because as we kind of touched on lightly, we can't do all of this alone, and it's going to take so many people with so many different perspectives and so many sets of skills and expertise that we are constantly looking for people. If you're concerned, if you are passionate about any of these specific areas, please reach out to us at admin@LubbockCompact.com. That's the email, and it's just admin, ADMIN, @LubbockCompact.com. And then somebody will reach out to you and we'll connect. So yeah, so thank you for attending, everybody. Thank you for the questions. And we hope that you read the report and get something out of it, and that maybe if you are a part of one of those organizations that can take up some of those things, we'd love to see it. So thanks, everybody, and we'll go ahead and end the meeting.